Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Schenectady City Council Committee meeting for Monday, May 3rd, 2021 to order, and we'll go into public safety. This item here is just a reminder for the public hearing on May 10th. And Mr. Coling just give us an update on this item. So this item was just placed as a reminder. Ms. Zaluski-Wolzner, do you have any other to add to this item?
No, Mr. Colton explained earlier, it's going to be ready for the public hearing next week. So I've heard good feedback so far. So looking forward to the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other item before public safety? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
I'd like to call Health and Recreation to order, and we have two items on the agenda. The first is discussing a lease agreement with Grout Park. Ms. Porterfield.
Yes, thank you. Miss Maiku should have sent you all the backup that goes with this. So there's a group, Schenectady Softball Cricket, some of you may be familiar with them, who has used the grounds for a number of years. And in times past, we have created lease with other groups. So this group is asking for a lease, and they want to, as you can see, do extensive upgrades to the grounds. Right now, they're, in terms of cricket, are not, you know, the quality of the field that they would like. So what they're seeking from the city is to enter into a long-term lease agreement to be able to do some of the upgrades. I looked at the upgrades that, I don't know if you have them there, Mr. Mudaveran or Ms. Maiku, to share. Some of the upgrades that they're asking for, it looks like some things that the city would be doing. So I'm not sure how we would move forward with that. Mr. Singh is trying to get in. For some reason, he's not able to. Sam, can you see whether he's in or not? He said he was having difficulty trying to get in so he could answer any questions or give, you know, a lot more feedback. I do want to mention that cricket is a very fast growing sport, and there's a lot of support for it across New York State. And within Schenectady, it's been for a long time. And I know that we've had some challenges in terms of the fields. So just as we have a dedicated field for softball and we have dedicated fields for other things, and as we're doing a lot of renovations in parks right now, this just seems an ideal time to do two things: to try to do some renovations in that park, get them done in there. Mr. Singh has said that they, you know, would be certainly providing some funding towards this to do that, and in addition to that, to find a place that could be dedicated to cricket, not just to this group, but to cricket, because that's something that's been challenging. And we've been dealing with for a long time. So that's kind of an overview. My suggestion would be that, well, let me, if there's any other questions or comments at this point. And he's not on, so I'm not sure why he's not able to get on.
Do any of my colleagues have comments or questions for Ms.
Yeah.
Porterfield?
Miss Patrick.
Yes, Ms. Zaluski-Waltunas.
So if we're going to, there's multiple, my understanding is there's multiple leagues and more than one league uses this field. So I would not be in favor of having just one league in charge of it. I believe now they go get the permit and have their games. I know last year was kind of a bust because we had COVID, but my recollection is that there were multiple leagues that would use this field. So I would not want to enter into any kind of a long-term lease agreement when we're going to kind of box other leagues out when it's being used by several of them. Just my opinion.
Ms.
Other
Patrick?
comments?
Respond to that. So in the information that was sent, he said that it would be open to other leagues. That's in the information that was provided to us. So it's not exclusive use. It's simply someone who would maintain the fields, which is, and let me just say that we've done this before. We have entered into a lease with other groups who kind of manage the fields. Well, and everybody had access to it. So this is not new territory that we're going in. So, and again, if in the information that he provided, he said that other groups would still have the opportunity to use the field. So, I just want to make that clear that this is not exclusive to any one group. It's just a group that would be managing it.
Mr. Mudavaren, did you have a
Thank you.
question? Yeah.
Yes, I do have a comment in regards to this. On Saturdays at Grove Park, the hardball, they have a permit and they already pulled and they're playing there, and that's a separate league. And the Sunday is the softball, the Schenectady Softball Cricket Association. They have a permit and they play on Sundays. So my question is that with regards to this lease agreement, I think Ms. Porterfield, we need to meet with the two leagues to kind of work out how can they incorporate these two permits that they have into one and this lease agreement that they're going to have, and how are they going to share Grove Park on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't have an issue with them. I mean, going into a lease agreement with the city and kind of, provide necessary funding to take care of Grove Park, but at the same time, we want to make sure that both leagues are comfortable with what we intend to do here.
Absolutely. I'm 100% in agreement with that we should sit down and meet with them. And I personally don't envision this being something that we are going to get through and get moving forward in time for this year. It's a lot. So I don't see us being able to do that. I imagine that we'll be able to go through the way we've been going through and going through the permit process. However, if we're going to talk about this, we need to, there needs to be a starting place. So I agree that we should sit down and talk with both of them about what the possibilities are, and also with the city as well, or what the possibilities are. However, I really think it's something that we should take a look at and not just simply say, no, we're not going to do it. I think we should talk with both leagues, all parties involved actually, and see if it's something that makes sense. Let me just also add that it states in there about bringing people in. I've been to the events that they've had, and people have come from all over Canada, downstate, etc. So there are a number of people, which adds revenue to our city, because when that many people come in, people are going to restaurants, they're going to bars, they're going different places, buying things, purchasing things that, when you travel, you go sometimes and you think, oh, I forgot my whatever that thing is. So there's revenues coming in on many levels, including hotels. So, I think that we should also look at it from that perspective, and really definitely have a, kind of sit down and weed through what we can and can't do, and if this makes sense on any levels. I think that there's some good possibilities here.
Yeah, Ms. Patrick, yeah, absolutely in agreement with that. But Ms. Porterfield, is something that you're taking the lead on this. Can we invite them to meet with the council and kind of put their proposal to us, both league, and how can both of them kind of work together with one proposal?
That sounds good.
Well, well, we'll see about that because this is a group, definitely one group. I just want to be clear. This is one group who's coming forward asking for the lease. So let's just be clear about that. And he's not getting through. So he's not going to get on. But I think we should definitely meet. And I was wondering if we should start by meeting with the Health and Recreation Committee and of course other members from the council, could come to that. But I wouldn't know if it'd be, first of all, worthwhile to really have those discussions as we have in times past with the committee that this would be under, and then moving it forward from there. And
I'd
that's
be happy
certainly up to all of you.
I'd be happy to do that.
Well, Madam Chair, is the council, I wasn't quite sure, you talked about there were the other league. Are you also looking to go out for proposals? So we put out a request for RFP, or, he's talking about a long-term lease. I don't know what a long-term lease is. It could be
What does it
2
mean?
years, it could be 10 years.
Yeah.
And is the council interested in doing that, where we do formal proposals to actually solidify what people might be willing to put up if they were given a longer lease? Shorter terms, it tends to be they're not willing to make capital improvements or
Right.
spend large amounts of money.
That makes sense to me, Mr. Mayor, because I think that especially if we have more than one group interested, it kind of gives us sort of a competitive opportunity to review all the proposals and talk about it at the committee level. So how do other people feel?
Yeah, Ms. Patrick, I mean,
Yes,
that's not a bad suggestion from Mayor McCarthy. So what we'll do when we set up meetings to meet with these groups, we can relay those information to them. So that way they can either, go that way or come up with other suggestions that they may have.
So I'm not clear on what that meant, Mr. Mudavar. So could you just break that down for me?
What, in terms of bringing them to the table and talk about
So,
RFP?
Are you, well, I think that I think we're going like a little further than we need to at this moment. And Mayor, I think it is a good idea to, let me just say, that we put out an RFP. But I think that we, first of all, meet with whatever groups before we're not close enough to the RFP process yet. Let me just say that. And so I think that we should have these discussions with at least minimally starting out the groups that are already using the field. And did you say that was 2, Mr. Mudavar?
Well, there's at least 2. There's the hardball and the softball teams.
Right.
That is correct. There is 2 leagues currently using Grove Park, and what I mentioned earlier, the hardballs they play on Saturdays, and the softball plays on every Sundays.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is to bring them to a meeting and let's hear from them, both leagues, and let's encourage them to kind of bring forward a proposal.
So are you saying that we should meet as the council or the Health and Recreation Committee?
It's up to the council. I mean, do the entire council want to meet with the both leagues, or do we just put it as Ms. Patrick just mentioned through the Health and Rec, and then bring it to the entire council? I'm open to either one of them.
I am open to either one of them as well. So may I hear from my colleagues, please?
Yeah, Ms. Patrick.
Yes, that you wanted to come to Health and Recreation, Mr. Palomeni?
No, I wanted to speak. I was asking for permission to speak.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. Okay. Yes, please go ahead and speak, Mr. Palomeni.
Why don't we have the groups come to a committee meeting, like we typically do. That way it's the same night as a regular meeting. Everybody's present. Everybody can hear what they have to say. And, that way all parties are present and can be, because it's a regular scheduled meeting. And that way, and it also gives them time to prepare what they'd like to say.
Okay. Any other comments on that? It sounds like a good plan.
I
Ms.
think there's a
Porterfield?
caller on. the line, Mr. Mudavaren? I don't, you can unmute and see if it's Omkar.
Is he on? Okay, hold on.
I don't know.
let me see.
There's a new caller.
Mr. Omkar Singh, are you online? Mr. Singh, are you there?
Is he unmuted? Is that caller unmuted?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay.
Well, let's, so for the next committee meeting, who will invite these groups? Is that Ms. Maiku?
I can reach out. Do you, for both groups, right? For softball and hardball.
Or is it 3 groups? Is it,
I think it's 2.
okay.
I think it's 2.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Ms. Patrick,
Yes, Mr. Palmetti?
is Mr. LaFond on the line? Maybe he knows how many people are trying to get permits to use the field, and that
I
would
didn't see him,
give
but
us information who we need to contact.
No,
I-
there is only
I
2
don't see him.
permits issued for Grove Park usage. One
Okay.
for Saturdays and one for Sunday, and only 2 cricket leagues.
Okay, so I will get from Mr. LaFawn who those groups are, and well, obviously we know one, and definitely reach out. So do you want them back in 2 weeks? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
please. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much for reaching out.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other comments on this, or can we go to the next item on the agenda?
I'm fine.
Okay, Mr. Palomeni, the contract for the Bellevue Little League, please.
Well, it's the old Bellevue Little League, but we've had some, that field hasn't been used in years. There's interest in a group using the field. They have used it and pulled permits to use it in the past. They received a grant from the Schenectady Foundation, and I believe both gentlemen are online tonight. We have Robert Dobbs and Ed Varno, and just like to turn it over to Mr. Dobbs just to give a brief explanation of what they're looking to do at the field and with the grant. Rob?
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day.
Thank you.
I'm Robert
Yes.
Dobbs from Restorative Mindset, Inc. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with everyone here today. With the pandemic slowing things down with the park, I'm very excited to get back going and getting the park fixed for the children. We won a $50,000 grant from the Schenectady Foundation, and we're working with our partner, Madeline Thorne, and her team from the Habitat for Humanity to build a pavilion and a bathroom for the Bellevue Park, and we will maintain and keep the park cleaned. We're looking to have sports activity, back to school giveaways, and a bunch of programs for the children in our city at the Bellevue Park once it's fixed up.
So
Any
just,
que-
if you're not aware, both Mr. Dobbs has run a few events at the field.
Events there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they've been very successful. They've done a cleanup of the field. There's some more work that needs to be done with some help from the city to take care of some of the bigger items. But the field, from what it looked like to what it looks like now, the amount of work and effort that Mr. Dobbs and Mr. Varno have put into it, just amazing. And hopefully, if you have any questions, please ask the gentleman.
Actually,
Ms. Porterfield?
yes, thank you. So my question actually is so, kind of like folds into what we just talked about. As we're talking about this contract, are we talking about exclusive use? Or, how does that work for other Little League teams that want to use the field? How does that get managed?
Well, that field can't be used for Little League anymore because, first of all, it's not to the dimensions of Little League. Secondly, the left field fence and area, just beyond it is the gulch between Bellevue Little League and the General Electric. There's a trail system back there. And like I said, nobody's used that field in years. These were the only group, this was the only group that's asked to use it in quite some time.
So I guess I'm confused because the agenda says contract for Bellevue Little League. So that is why I'm saying Little League, because that's what it says on the agenda. So it's, you're saying that it can't be used for Little League? I guess I'm confused by this.
It's the old site of Bellevue Little League. That's why we just put it so people would know what we're talking about. It's the physical location of where Bellevue Little League is. It's not going to be a Little League. It just isn't two dimensions of Little League fields anymore.
Okay. Okay, so, and no one's used it, so, but, so I'll go further that, once you fix it up, you know, like now you got a really nice field, other people may want to use it. So is that something going to be built in for that possibility?
Contract would be similar to what we do with all the other organizations. Mr. Colden, could you speak to that?
Sure. We've entered into 2 previous agreements, one for the Michigan Avenue baseball field, one for the Oregon Avenue field over by Crosstown, with 2 separate Little Leagues. What I would, suggest the council do is, if the council is inclined to move ahead with this proposal, is for the city to enter into a very similar agreement with this group for this site. I believe what we did previously was a 10-year agreement. The city has a right to terminate the contract on notice. The use was exclusive for the fields in those other 2 agreements. I would suggest we do the same with this. And I should add, if I may, one of the requirements that we've had on the other agreements is the proper insurance had to be secured by the Little League, by the group. I know in this instance, I've already seen the insurance from the group seeking to get a contract with the city on this, and I don't have any issues with their insurance. Their insurance would cover our needs.
Thank you, Mr. Colden.
Thank you for the clarification.
Ms. Patrick, you're on mute. Sorry.
Sorry about that. We have had this contract with this group in the past. Is that my understanding? Is that understanding?
No, they pulled permits to use the field.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept this.
Can I get a second?
Second, sorry, it wasn't me.
It's okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I'd like to call to order City Development and Planning. We have 8 items on the agenda. So the first item is really just a reminder that we're going to be having a public hearing on May 10th for the proposed 2021 to 22 HUD annual action plan. That's just a placeholder. The second item on the agenda is to authorize the issuance of a revocable permit number 660 to Wind Supply of Schenectady for a sign and that will encroach, the city's right of way at 1721 State Street. Mr. Wallen?
I will be Mr. Wallen this evening, Ms. Porterfield.
Okay.
I'll put on my engineering hat. So this is a legislative request for Wind Supply of Schenectady to install a sign in the city's right-of-way at 1721 State Street. This is a revocable permit. Obviously, the applicant will need to have the necessary insurances in place. This is a new sign. This is a new company in this location. Obviously, there was a sign for the old company, so this is essentially replacing that sign and installing this new sign. I believe your materials have a I think, an image of what the sign will look like. Happy to answer any questions that I can as city engineer.
Are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
the next 6 items are sale of properties, and Mr. Colden, those should be done in executive session.
That's correct.
Okay, so we will go into, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Are you,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go into executive session. See you there. Thank you.
Okay.